In life, we are often faced with unexpected challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that are beyond our control. Whether it's a personal loss, a career disappointment, or simply an unforeseen hardship, we all encounter situations that test our strength and resilience. However, one of the most empowering truths we can embrace is that, although we cannot always control the events that happen to us, we have full control over how we respond to them. This ability to choose our reactions is one of the greatest powers we possess, and it is a defining characteristic of being the captain of our soul. When life presents us with difficulties, the natural human instinct is to react emotionally. We might feel anger, fear, frustration, or helplessness. These emotions are valid and part of the human experience, but it is important to remember that emotions themselves are not a problem. The real challenge arises when we allow these emotions to dictate our actions without conscious thought. If we react impulsively or allow negative emotions to dominate our responses, we might make decisions we later regret, or we could exacerbate the situation by acting out of anger, fear, or sadness. The true power lies in our ability to pause, reflect, and choose how to respond. This requires a deep level of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and discipline. In challenging moments, we can take a step back, observe our emotions without judgment, and consciously decide how to proceed. In essence, we become the stewards of our reactions, and we are no longer at the mercy of our impulses. Consider the metaphor of a captain steering a ship. The sea is unpredictable and storms are inevitable. However, the captain's job is not to control the weather, but to manage the ship's course in response to the storm. By adjusting the sails, changing direction, or steering the ship with precision, the captain ensures the safety of the crew and the success of the voyage. Similarly, in life, while we cannot control the storms we face, we can control how we navigate through them. When we take responsibility for our responses, we are not simply reacting to the world around us, we are actively shaping our experiences. A person who responds to adversity with resilience, calmness, and optimism is more likely to find solutions, learn from the situation, and move forward with strength. On the other hand, someone who succumbs to anger, helplessness, or defeat might remain stuck, unable to move past the initial challenge. This doesn't mean that we should suppress our emotions or pretend that everything is fine when it isn't. Acknowledging and feeling our emotions is a crucial part of the healing process. But the key is to recognize that our emotions are temporary states. They do not define us, nor should they control us. By giving ourselves the space to process emotions and then choosing to act with intention, we can reclaim our sense of control. There are several practical ways to exercise control over our responses. One method is to practice mindfulness. By being present in the moment and observing our thoughts and emotions without immediately reacting to them, we can create the mental space needed to respond with clarity. Mindfulness allows us to pause before we act, giving us the opportunity to assess the situation rationally and decide on the best course of action. Another powerful tool is reframing. Reframing involves changing the way we view a situation. For instance, instead of seeing a setback as a failure, we can choose to see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Reframing helps us shift our perspective, transforming challenges into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This mindset change can be transformative as it enables us to approach life's difficulties with a sense of empowerment rather than victimhood. One of the most important aspects of controlling our responses is to maintain a sense of gratitude, even in the face of adversity. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to negative emotions. By focusing on the things we are grateful for, we can shift our attention away from what we lack or what has gone wrong. Gratitude helps us maintain a sense of balance and perspective, reminding us that even in tough times, there are still positive aspects of our lives worth celebrating. The control we have over our responses extends beyond personal challenges. It also affects how we interact with others. In moments of conflict or stress, we have the power to choose how we communicate and how we engage with others. By responding with respect, empathy, and patience, we not only resolve conflicts more effectively, but also create stronger, more positive relationships. Ultimately, the ability to control our responses is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding difficult situations. It is about recognizing that, as the captains of our souls, we have the ability to navigate through life with purpose, resilience, and clarity. By taking responsibility for how we respond, we take charge of our journey, steering it toward a destination of growth, learning, and fulfillment. In conclusion, life is not just a series of events happening to us, it is a constant interplay between external circumstances and our internal reactions. The power to respond with awareness, intention, and grace is what defines us as captains of our own souls. When we embrace this power, we unlock our true potential, shaping not only our present experience but also our future. The storms may come, but we are the ones at the helm, charting our course forward. In the course of our lives, we encounter moments of both challenge and triumph. Some of these moments are within our control, while others feel like forces beyond us. Yet, one of the most profound truths we can embrace is that, regardless of the circumstances, we have ultimate control over how we respond to life's events. This idea that we are the captains of our souls reminds us that we have the power to steer our lives in the direction we choose, especially in response to adversity. We cannot always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we choose to react. Life is full of unpredictability. At any given moment, you might find yourself faced with a setback, a loss, a disappointment, or even a tragedy. These are the storms that come with life's voyage. But just as a ship's captain cannot control the winds or the waves, we too cannot control the external circumstances that arise. What we do have, however, is the ability to decide how we handle those storms. Our reactions to challenges will ultimately determine the trajectory of our lives. One of the most powerful aspects of human nature is the ability to pause and make conscious decisions even when faced with intense emotions. When confronted with adversity, it is easy to let fear, frustration, or anger take the reins, causing us to react impulsively or negatively. Yet, by becoming aware of our emotional state and choosing to respond thoughtfully, we regain control of our situation. The power to respond rather than to react allows us to steer our lives more effectively. Imagine the scenario of a captain in the midst of a fierce storm at sea. The captain cannot control the weather, nor can they make the storm disappear. But they can adjust the sails, change course, and navigate the storm with skill and determination. Similarly, in life, when we are faced with challenges, we have the power to adjust our mindset, change our approach, and determine the best course of action. This ability is not a passive response to life's challenges. It is an active choice to take command of our own lives. Taking responsibility for our reactions is the first step in reclaiming our power. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, we recognize that our responses are within our control. This shift in perspective is liberating. When we take responsibility, we stop blaming external forces or other people for how we feel. Instead, we accept that we are the ones who hold the key to our emotional well-being. For example, when faced with a failure or setback, we can choose to view the situation through a lens of learning and growth, rather than letting it define us as incapable or unlucky. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" This mindset helps us move forward, grow stronger, and become more resilient. The key to mastering our responses is emotional regulation, the ability to manage and respond to our emotions in a healthy way. When we are able to regulate our emotions, we are not driven by knee-jerk reactions, but instead can respond with calmness, clarity, and intentionality. This does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending that we are unaffected by the challenges we face. It simply means acknowledging our feelings, processing them, and choosing to act in a way that aligns with our values and goals. Mindfulness is one of the most effective tools for cultivating emotional regulation. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to create space between an event and our reaction to it. This space allows us to choose how we respond rather than automatically reacting based on habit or impulse. Whether it's taking a deep breath before responding to a stressful situation or stepping back to gain perspective, mindfulness helps us navigate life's challenges with greater awareness and control. Another powerful way to control our responses is through reframing. Reframing involves changing the way we interpret or think about a situation. For instance, when faced with a difficult project at work, we can reframe it as an opportunity to learn new skills rather than viewing it as a burden. Reframing helps us focus on the positives and take a proactive approach to problems. rather than feeling helpless or defeated. Gratitude is another powerful tool in controlling our responses. When we focus on the things we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from negativity. Even in the toughest times, there is always something to be thankful for, whether it's our health, our relationships, or the lessons we've learned. Practicing gratitude allows us to maintain a sense of perspective and prevents us from being consumed by the challenges we face. Ultimately, the ability to control our response to life is what empowers us to lead our lives with intention. It is not the circumstances we face that define us, it is how we choose to respond that shapes our character and our future. Every time we make a conscious decision to respond with resilience, optimism, and purpose, we are reinforcing our power as the captains of our own souls. In doing so, we steer our lives toward growth, fulfillment, and success. In conclusion, the storms of life will always come. But as captains of our souls, we have the power to choose our course. We are not passive passengers, helpless against the winds of fate. We are the ones who control the wheel, set the sail, and decide how we will navigate through life's challenges. By taking control of our reactions, we gain the freedom to create the life we truly desire. In life, we face challenges that test our strength, resilience, and character. Sometimes these challenges feel overwhelming, as though we are adrift in a stormy sea with no way of steering our ship. Yet, one of the most empowering truths we can embrace is that while we cannot control every circumstance or event that happens to us, we do have full control over how we respond to those events. This ability to choose our response is one of the most profound aspects of being the captain of our soul. The metaphor of being the captain of your soul speaks to the idea that just as a captain navigates their ship through calm and stormy seas, we are the ones who can guide our lives through both smooth waters and turbulent times. Life is full of unpredictability, and sometimes events unfold in ways we didn't plan or expect. We may experience disappointments, setbacks, or even failures that are beyond our control. However, the one thing we always have control over is how we respond to those situations. When faced with adversity, it is easy to let our emotions take charge. Fear, anger, frustration, and sadness are natural human responses. But it is essential to understand that these emotions do not have to dictate our actions. Instead of reacting impulsively to life's challenges, we have the power to pause, reflect, and choose how we will respond. This ability to control our reactions allows us to steer our lives in the direction we want, regardless of the external circumstances. This is not to say that we should suppress our emotions or pretend that we aren't affected by challenges. On the contrary, acknowledging our emotions is a crucial part of the process. What we can do, however, is refuse to let our emotions control us. By recognizing that emotions are temporary and that we are not defined by them, we can create space between the event and our response, allowing ourselves to make conscious decisions. In this way, we take the wheel of our own ship, directing it with intention and purpose rather than being tossed around by the waves of circumstance. Think of a ship captain facing a powerful storm. The captain cannot stop the storm, nor can they control the sea, but they can adjust the sails, change the course, and guide the ship with skill and confidence. Similarly, when we encounter difficulties in life, we cannot control everything around us, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to face adversity with resilience, optimism, and a mindset of problem solving. In doing so, we regain our sense of agency and control, and we are no longer passive passengers on the journey of life. When we take responsibility for our responses, we acknowledge that we are not helpless in the face of life's challenges. Rather than blaming others or external circumstances for our struggles, we realize that we have the power to shape our own experiences. This mindset is incredibly liberating. It allows us to see challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than insurmountable obstacles. Each difficulty becomes a chance to develop our emotional strength, learn new skills, and deepen our understanding of ourselves. One of the most important aspects of controlling our response is emotional regulation. Emotional regulation refers to our ability to manage and respond to our emotions in healthy ways. This doesn't mean we should suppress our feelings. It means we learn to respond to our emotions thoughtfully and intentionally. For example, if we feel anger rising in response to an injustice, we can choose to express that anger in a constructive way through conversation, action, or reflection rather than allowing it to control us or manifest as destructive behavior. Mindfulness is a key tool in emotional regulation. It helps us stay present in the moment and observe our thoughts and emotions without immediately reacting to them. By practicing mindfulness, we can create a space between stimulus and response, allowing us to choose how to react rather than simply being driven by impulse. This awareness gives us the ability to steer our reactions with clarity and purpose, even in difficult situations. Another powerful way to control our responses is by reframing our perspective. Reframing involves changing the way we interpret a situation. Instead of seeing a setback as a failure, we can choose to see it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and adapt. Reframing allows us to shift from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. It empowers us to see challenges not as obstacles, but as stepping stones on the path to success. Gratitude is another tool that can help us maintain control over our responses. In times of adversity, it's easy to focus on what we lack or what has gone wrong. However, by practicing gratitude, we shift our focus to the positive aspects of our lives, even amidst hardship. Gratitude allows us to maintain perspective, reminding us that there is always something to be thankful for, no matter how difficult the situation may seem. Ultimately, the ability to control our responses to life is a powerful act of self-leadership. It is not the events that define us, but how we choose to respond to them. Every challenge we face provides an opportunity to practice this control and strengthen our character. When we take responsibility for our reactions, we reclaim our power and become the active participants in our own lives. In conclusion, while we may not be able to control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond to those events. By becoming aware of our emotions, practicing mindfulness, reframing our perspective, and choosing gratitude, we can navigate life's challenges with resilience, clarity, and purpose. As the captains of our own souls, we have the power to steer our lives in the direction we desire, no matter the storms we may encounter along the way. In life, one of the most empowering truths we can adopt is the understanding that we are the masters of how we respond to the events and circumstances that come our way. While we cannot always control what happens to us, whether it's a personal loss, an unexpected change, or an external challenge, we do have absolute control over how we choose to respond. This realization that we are the captains of our souls enables us to take charge of our lives, regardless of the turbulence we face. At the core of this belief is the understanding that our reactions, thoughts, and decisions are entirely within our control. We are not victims of circumstances, nor are we helpless in the face of adversity. When things don't go as planned, it can be easy to feel disempowered, to blame others or external forces for the challenges we face. However, adopting the mindset that we are the captains of our souls shifts this perspective entirely. Rather than giving up our power to circumstances, we begin to recognize that we always have the ability to choose how we respond. Imagine a ship navigating through rough seas. The captain cannot stop the storm from coming, nor can they control the waves. However, the captain has the power to steer the ship, adjust the sails, and navigate the vessel through the storm. The ship's destination is not determined by the storm itself, but by how the captain responds to it. In the same way, the challenges we face in life do not determine our destiny. It is how we respond to those challenges that shapes our journey. When we recognize that we are the captains of our souls, we shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. Rather than waiting for circumstances to dictate our emotions or behaviors, we become aware of our thoughts and emotions, and we make intentional choices about how to respond. This practice is not about ignoring our feelings or pretending that difficulties don't affect us. It's about acknowledging our feelings without letting them control us. We give ourselves the space to process emotions, and then we consciously choose how to move forward rather than simply reacting impulsively. In practical terms, this might mean taking a moment to breathe and reflect before responding in anger to a frustrating situation, or it might involve choosing to see a setback as an opportunity for growth rather than a failure. The power lies in recognizing that we have the ability to choose how we engage with the world, even when things don't go as expected. One of the most important aspects of being the captain of your soul is emotional self-regulation. It is the ability to understand and manage our emotions, especially in difficult situations. When we learn to regulate our emotions, we are not overwhelmed by stress, frustration, or sadness. Instead, we are able to respond with clarity, patience, and resilience, Emotional self-regulation doesn't mean suppressing emotions, it means giving ourselves the tools to process them in a healthy way. By doing so, we remain in control of our responses and can continue to move forward with purpose. Mindfulness is one of the most effective practices for developing emotional self-regulation. By practicing mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts and feelings in the present moment. This awareness allows us to pause before reacting, creating a space where we can choose how we respond. Rather than being swept away by our emotions, we observe them from a place of detachment and understanding, allowing us to act with greater intentionality. Another important aspect of controlling our responses is reframing our perspectives. Reframing involves changing the way we interpret a situation. For example, when faced with a setback, instead of seeing it as a failure, we can choose to view it as a valuable lesson that will help us grow. Reframing allows us to shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment. It helps us see obstacles as opportunities and allows us to approach life's challenges with a sense of optimism and purpose. Furthermore, practicing gratitude can significantly improve our ability to respond positively to life's difficulties. When we focus on the things we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from what's wrong or missing in our lives. Gratitude helps us maintain a balanced perspective even during tough times and reminds us that there is always something to appreciate no matter how difficult the situation may seem. Gratitude can transform a negative experience into a source of strength, as it encourages us to focus on the positive rather than dwell on the negative. One of the greatest benefits of becoming the captain of your soul is the empowerment that comes with it. When we recognize that we are in control of our responses, we are no longer passive participants in our lives. Instead, we become active creators of our experiences. We are no longer defined by our circumstances, but by how we choose to engage with the world. This sense of agency allows us to approach life with confidence, knowing that no matter what comes our way, we have the power to respond in a way that aligns with our values and goals. Ultimately, the ability to control our response to life's challenges is not about avoiding difficulty, nor is it about expecting everything to be easy. It is about acknowledging that difficulty is a part of life and that how we handle adversity defines who we are. As captains of our souls, we have the ability to steer through storms, adjust our sails, and navigate our lives toward growth, fulfillment, and success. Life's challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to them is entirely in our hands. In conclusion, the power to respond to life's challenges is one of the most significant aspects of being the captain of our souls. By taking responsibility for our reactions, we gain control over our emotional and mental state, allowing us to navigate life's difficulties with strength, clarity, and purpose. The storms of life may be out of our control, but our responses to them are always within our power. And in that power, we find our true strength. In the course of our lives, we often encounter situations that test our limits, challenge our beliefs, and push us to the brink of despair. These are the moments that can define us, times when everything seems out of our control and it feels like we are at the mercy of forces larger than ourselves. However, in these moments, one of the most empowering truths we can grasp is that we have the ability to choose how we respond. No matter what life throws at us, we are always in control of our reactions. This is the essence of being the captain of our own soul. The idea of being the captain of our soul speaks to the concept of taking full responsibility for how we engage with life, particularly when faced with adversity. While we cannot control the external circumstances that come our way, whether they are challenges in our careers, relationships, or health, we have complete autonomy over how we choose to respond to them. It is this internal control that shapes our experience, rather than the uncontrollable circumstances around us. At first, this may seem like a daunting responsibility. After all, it's easy to feel like a victim when we face hardships. It is tempting to blame external forces, be it other people, our environment, or mere bad luck for the struggles we encounter. However, when we embrace the mindset of being the captain of our soul, we reclaim the power to shape our responses. We stop allowing circumstances to dictate our emotional states and start taking command of our actions, thoughts, and emotions. Imagine being on a ship in the middle of a storm. The captain cannot control the weather, nor can they stop the waves from crashing against the hull. However, the captain can adjust the sail, steer the wheel, and navigate the ship through the storm with skill and determination. Similarly, we cannot always control the storms in our lives, be it a setback, a loss, or an unexpected challenge, but we can control how we respond. We can steer ourselves through the difficult times, adjusting our course when necessary and using the tools at our disposal to weather the storm. This idea doesn't mean we suppress our emotions or ignore the difficulty of a situation. On the contrary, embracing our power as the captain of our soul requires us to acknowledge our feelings, confront our fears, and recognize our vulnerabilities. It's important to feel what we feel: anger, grief, frustration, but not to let these emotions define us or control our behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively to life's difficulties, we take a step back, reflect, and decide how we will respond. This is the essence of emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions in a way that aligns with our values and goals. One of the first steps in mastering our responses is to cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment and observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we create a space between an event and our reaction. This space allows us to make conscious choices rather than reacting automatically based on old habits or emotional triggers. For example, if we feel anger rising in response to a situation, mindfulness helps us pause and decide whether to express that anger in a constructive way or to let it go. It gives us the power to choose our response, instead of simply reacting out of habit. Reframing is another powerful tool for controlling our responses. Reframing involves changing the way we perceive a situation. When faced with a challenge, instead of seeing it as a failure or setback, we can choose to view it as an opportunity for growth and learning. For example, losing a job might seem like a devastating event at first, but it could also open the door to new opportunities and personal growth. By reframing the situation, we shift from a mindset of helplessness to one of empowerment. Reframing helps us see obstacles as opportunities, and this shift in perspective can transform how we approach challenges. Gratitude is yet another powerful tool that can help us take control of our responses. In difficult times, it's easy to focus on what we lack or what's going wrong. However, by practicing gratitude, we shift our focus to what we have and what is going well in our lives. Gratitude allows us to see the good even in the most challenging situations. It helps us maintain perspective, reminding us that no matter how difficult things may seem, there is always something to appreciate. By cultivating a mindset of gratitude, we can navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and hope. Ultimately, the power to control our responses is what allows us to lead our lives with intention and purpose. It is not the circumstances we face that define us, but how we choose to respond to them. When we take responsibility for our reactions, we stop being passive victims of circumstance and become active participants in shaping our lives. We are no longer at the mercy of external forces, but in control of how we engage with the world around us. The concept of being the captain of your soul also extends to how we treat others. In moments of conflict or difficulty, we can choose to respond with kindness, patience, and empathy. We can choose to listen rather than react, to understand rather than judge. In doing so, we not only improve our relationships with others, but also strengthen our own emotional resilience. How we treat others is a direct reflection of how we manage our inner world. Life is a journey full of unpredictable events and challenges, both big and small. Sometimes it may feel as though we are mere passengers, being carried by the currents of circumstances, tossed about by the waves of fate. However, there is a fundamental truth that each of us can adopt to take control of our lives. We are the captains of our souls. This powerful idea suggests that while we cannot always control the external forces that affect us, we always have control over how we respond to those forces. Our reactions to life's challenges shape our experiences and ultimately determine the course of our lives. Being the captain of our own soul means taking full responsibility for our emotional and mental responses to life's circumstances. While we cannot dictate every event that happens to us, we can choose how we respond. This understanding gives us a sense of agency, empowering us to navigate through life with greater intention, resilience, and strength. When we recognize that we are the ones who determine how we react, we free ourselves from the grip of external forces and begin to live with greater purpose. Think of life as a ship sailing through stormy seas. A captain cannot control the weather, nor can they stop the waves from crashing. But they can adjust the sails, steer the ship, and chart a course to navigate through the storm. In the same way, we cannot always control what happens to us. We may face setbacks, disappointments, or even tragedies. However, we do have control over how we handle these challenges. We can choose to navigate through difficult times with strength and clarity, adjusting our mindset and actions in a way that aligns with our values and goals. One of the most important aspects of being the captain of our soul is emotional self-regulation. Emotions are powerful and natural, and when we encounter difficult situations, it's easy to become overwhelmed by them. However, when we learn to regulate our emotions by acknowledging them without being controlled by them, we regain control of our response. Emotional self-regulation does not mean suppressing emotions, but rather understanding and managing them in a healthy way. It means taking the time to reflect before reacting, allowing ourselves to process our feelings in a manner that serves our best interests. A crucial tool in emotional regulation is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the current moment. By cultivating mindfulness, we create space between an event and our reaction, giving ourselves the opportunity to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. When we become mindful of our emotions, we can observe them without judgment and choose the most constructive course of action. This practice is particularly helpful during moments of stress or emotional turmoil, as it enables us to step back and avoid being overwhelmed by our emotions. Another vital aspect of being the captain of our soul is reframing, changing the way we perceive a situation. Life is full of challenges, but how we interpret those challenges makes all the difference. When faced with a setback, we can choose to view it as a failure or as an opportunity to learn and grow. For example, a job loss might feel like a devastating event, but it could also be an opening for new opportunities, a chance to pursue a different career, or an opportunity to develop new skills. By reframing a negative situation, we shift our mindset from one of defeat to one of empowerment. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances and begin to see ourselves as active participants in our own growth and development. In addition to reframing, practicing gratitude is another powerful way to control our response to life's challenges. Gratitude allows us to shift our focus from what is wrong or missing in our lives to what we have and what is going well. Even during the most difficult times, there are always things to be grateful for: our health, our relationships, the lessons we've learned, or the simple joys of everyday life. When we cultivate a mindset of gratitude, we increase our resilience and maintain a positive outlook, even in the face of adversity. Gratitude shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance and reminds us that we always have something to be thankful for. As captains of our souls, we must also understand the importance of self-compassion. Life is not always easy, and we will undoubtedly make mistakes along the way. However, treating ourselves with kindness and understanding rather than judgment is an essential part of taking control of our responses. Self-compassion allows us to forgive ourselves, learn from our experiences, and move forward with greater strength. It helps us build resilience, as we are more likely to persevere when we treat ourselves with the same empathy and care that we would offer to others. Ultimately, being the captain of our soul means embracing the power to choose our reactions. Life is full of challenges, but it is how we respond to those challenges that shapes our character and determines the direction of our lives. When we take control of our emotional responses, when we choose gratitude over despair, mindfulness over impulsive reactions, and reframing over defeat, we steer our lives in the direction we desire. We become active participants in shaping our own destiny rather than passive victims of circumstance. In conclusion, we are all the captains of our souls. While we cannot control the external forces that affect us, we always have the power to choose how we respond. By practicing emotional regulation, mindfulness, reframing, gratitude, and self-compassion, we can navigate life's challenges with strength and purpose. As captains of our own souls, we chart the course of our lives, and it is our choices that determine the direction in which we sail.